you stand accused of creating a document in something of a hurry, and you will take it to the people in a referendum, as indeed the last president of Egypt did the same. Mm-hmm. But will you be making the same sort of mistakes? And perhaps above all, will you be enshrining the power of the military in Egypt as has always existed? Will you be making the same mistakes on human rights and religious freedoms that the previous constitution made?
And you expect me to answer all that in 5 minutes?
I'm in broadcasting mode, and that's what we do, I'm afraid.
Well, we are definitely trying to write a constitution that is democratic, that is constitutional, that is modern, that is futuristic, if you like. There's no denying that. But in so doing, we are not trying to rid Egypt of all that is religious or national or whatever came into the old constitution of the Muslim Brotherhoods. We were against that constitution because it laid the foundation for a religious state, which nobody in Egypt wanted, or at least the very vast majority of people in Egypt didn't want. What we are doing now is the opposite. But again, as I said, in so doing, we are not limiting ourselves to people who like-minded people only. We have the representatives of political Islam in the committee.
You said that, tell me if I'm wrong, but I read that there was one Islamist member of the committee and that he had walked out. Is that true?
No, you are wrong. We have about 5. There was one, and why do we have one? And why did we start with one? It is because all the political Islam parties have been asked to nominate their candidates for the committee. The Muslim Brotherhood and all the others refused, except for one party, Al-Nur Salafi Party, which represented its candidate. And
is that really a surprise, given that there's every prospect of the Muslim Brotherhood?
Well, you're either going to give me 5 minutes,
no,
or you're going to interrupt me every 60 seconds.
I'm going to challenge you, I'm afraid, because that's part of my job.
Yes, but you have to give me 5 minutes to lay down to answer your question.
There are other members of the committee
and then you can interrupt me.
But you say the Muslim Brotherhood walked out. I'm just asking you whether that's a surprise.
They didn't walk out. They didn't come in the first place.
Well, isn't that hardly surprising, given what's happened?
No, it's not hardly surprising. It is hardly surprising only if you condone the method they have chosen, which is rather than play the political game, they decided to use force to stage demonstrations that are not in any way peaceful. They are harmed, as a result of which there were clashes between both sides, and so many people, as you said in your introduction, died as a result. Had there been peaceful in the demonstrations, perhaps nobody would have died. So they refused to take part in the political process, and they chose instead to go down in the street and to use force, and they were armed, they were caught with arms. Some of our friends were killed. A common friend of ours there was an attempt on his life.
I don't think we should.
Let's talk more. I
was there during that period, and I saw what was happening, and I don't think we should dwell too much on that. We should try and move forward into this constitutional question.
Well,
you mentioned the Salafist Noor Party.
No, I can't go on like this. You ask me a question, and when I answer it, you say don't go backward.
No,
the question was about something that happened in the past.
You've answered the question. That was fine. If we can move on. The Salafist Noor Party, which you mentioned, I think they are taking part. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is this constitution therefore not going to ban religious parties? If you're talking to the Noor Party, if they're part of it,
they would object to that. But we are very keen to do what you did since the Middle Ages, and that is divide between church and state. There is no modern state in the world which accepts to have religion meddled with politics. And this is what we're trying to do in our constitution. If you have accepted that for yourselves, I don't see why you should chastise us for trying to do the same thing. We want to have a modern state. We want to move forward, to use your own words. And to move forward into the 21st century, we have to adopt all the principles of modernity, at the basis of which is that separation between religion and politics.